Whew, things never go the way that they're supposed to, especially on Fridays. For whatever reason, Fridays just don't operate the same as Monday through Thursday. Whatever the case may be, I need to get this out before Saturday. So we're going to attempt to knock this out in a timely manner and get through all 6 of the wild card weekend games. This is going to be a wacky weekend because the weather already is causing a problem. So we're going to dive into these games, talk about the 2 teams, and also talk about Mother Nature and how that may impact the outcome of these games. Anyway, you're locked into the 388th installment of the Louie T Network podcast that starts now. The Louie T Network is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description. Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to the 388th installment of the Louie T Network podcast. I, of course, am your set man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Happy Friday to you too, Hunter. It is a happy Friday. It's been a great Friday if you're a Commanders fan. But nonetheless, it's a great Friday as well if you're one of the 14 teams in the postseason. 12 are set to start their run at a Lombardi on Saturday. And it's a fun time. This is, to me, the best weekend of football is this first weekend of the playoffs, especially with this additional game on Monday. It doesn't get any better than this. Doubleheader to kick it off on Saturday, a triple header on Sunday, and then you get a game on Monday to cap off the week. It's fantastic. And then the beauty is we get to do it all over again next week. Anyway, we're going to talk about all 6 games and give a preview for each and then a prediction. Before we get to that, though, I just quickly want to talk about the changing of the old guard. And I mentioned this earlier in the week. It may have been on the podcast. It may have been on another live stream. It probably was on a different live stream. I think it might have been the one where we talked about the coaching carousel. But I do want to mention it here on the Louie T Network podcast that I'm shocked that Nick Saban hung it up. And with Saban gone from Alabama, Pete Carroll gone from the Seattle Seahawks, and Bill Belichick gone from the New England Patriots, it feels like a changing of the old guard. There aren't many guys left that have been at their particular locales for that long of a period of time. You may find a few scattered here or there in college football, but because college football is an ever-changing landscape, it's rare to find a college coach somewhere for more than 10 to 12 years at a time, because unless you get to that holy grail of a job, you're going to always be looking for the next opportunity as a college coach. Case in point, the man that is going to be tasked with following that almost impossible act that Nick Saban just put forth is going to be Kalen DeBoer. If that name sounds familiar, it's because he literally was just coaching in the national championship as the Washington Huskies head coach. And he just got there like maybe 2 years ago. And he's going to jump from Washington to Alabama to become the new head coach of the Crimson Tide. And what a journey it's been for him. They were just chronicling his journey to Washington, let alone now to Alabama. Kind of seems like a weird hire. You would think they would have stuck with one of these good old boys from down south and promoted one of these defensive coordinators or something. Would have been great if Kirby Smart could have hung in there long enough to inherit that job, because now I really feel like it's Kirby Smart's show in the SEC. Can't nobody F with Georgia. And Saban was already struggling as is with those boys. And now, who's going to stop Kirby Smart now? I mean, you know, what I realized, and after this, we're going to get to the games because I know we're short for time. What's funny is what you're seeing in collegiate sports in particular is that the old guard is being ushered out by the ever-changing landscape of collegiate sports. And these NIL deals and the transfer portal have chased off any semblance of the old get off my lawn approach to college sports and the old guard. The transfer portal and NIL deals ran off Roy Williams, famed head coach of the Kansas Jayhawks, and then finished out his career with the North Carolina Tar Heels. It ran off Mike Krzyzewski, and look, those two were going to retire eventually anyway. They were already getting old, but still, they loved it, but they didn't love what it had become. Jim Boeheim, he left kicking and screaming. He didn't really want to go, but he didn't have a choice. They were ready to move on, right? But a large part of what you're seeing is that they just don't want to deal with all of the bullshit that comes with the transfer portal. You tell a guy he's not starting, and the next day he's in the transfer portal. Nobody is able to have mental toughness anymore. No one perseveres. No one is persistent. You tell them they're not starting, they tell you, peace out. I'm going into the transfer portal. And coaches just can't deal with that. But, you know, the irony is kids sign a letter of intent to play for a university only to have that coach get an offer from another school and they take it and run. So I don't feel bad for coaches. I don't feel bad for programs. And I love that these kids are getting paid. But it is amazing to see how things are changing. I look for Kirby Smart to be the new Don Dada in the SEC. And in the SEC is changing. Maybe that's part of why Saban's like, let me get out right now. It's not going to be the same SEC anymore. Texas and all of these other teams are going to be joining the SEC this year. And we'll see what happens. But it was a hell of a run for Nick Saban, just like it was for Bill Belichick. Unprecedented. We may never see it again in college football. We may never see it again in the NFL. I'm pretty sure we won't see it again in the NFL. I almost feel 100% confident that we won't see what transpired, because it takes not only the greatest head coach in NFL history, or one of the greatest head coaches in NFL history, it also takes the greatest quarterback to be married with that coach. And you could say, well, one doesn't happen without the other, but both of them were great in their own right. You put them together and you get 6 championships. That's what happens. And Nick Saban, he was the Belichick of college football. All he knew how to do was win. So it's going to be interesting to see how Kalen DeBoer, manages to, because I don't think a lot of people remember just how down bad Alabama football was before Saban got there. They went through coach after coach, quarterback after quarterback. They were never really that good. They were never really that good. They would have seasons where they'd be solid, but they were never really that team. Saban takes over, and it changed everything. They became that Bama powerhouse again, like the Bear Bryant days. I wonder if that still exists with Kalen DeBoer. I don't know. We'll find out. I just think Georgia's going to take over the SEC now and really take over college football. I thought Saban was the only thing standing in the way of Kirby Smart winning 3 in a row. Now that Saban's no longer there, what's stopping Kirby from winning this joint every year? We'll see. Anyway, I digress. Let's get to our Gem Droppin Session, because that's all we're going to do today is jump into a long extendo clip Gem Droppin Session, which will essentially be the entire show, which is all we're doing is breaking down, previewing and predicting these playoff games for Wildcard weekend. So let's dive in head first. Saturday, 4:30, first game, 5 seed in the AFC, the Cleveland Browns, 4 seed, Houston Texans. I told you guys, didn't I tell you? I said, I bet you any amount of money. Whomever wins the AFC South will be hosting the very first playoff game of Wildcard weekend. Never fails. NFL always puts what they think is their worst game, which is whomever wins the AFC South. That division produces the least amount of ratings, which is why you don't see that division on national television all that much. And thus, whomever wins that division is always first. Even when Andrew Luck was in Indianapolis, they still were the first game of Wildcard weekend. I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon, but I digress. This still has the makings of an outstanding football game. You got the young upstart Houston Texans taking on a Cleveland Browns team that I don't think many people saw getting here with the injuries that they sustained at the quarterback position. They went from starting the season off with Deshaun Watson to then having him get injured, giving the rookie Dorian Thompson-Robinson an opportunity. He stinks it up. They get beat up pretty good by the Ravens. So then they go to P.J. Walker. He comes in. He's not much better, but they actually win some ball games. But he's not very good, and they realize we can't live like this. But good thing is Watson comes back. You don't have to worry about it. And then he gets hurt again. And looks like the season's done because there's no way you're going to be able to survive with Dorian Thompson-Robinson and P.J. Walker as your two quarterbacks. It's just not going to happen. And then something crazy happened. Joe Flacco got on the field. And Joe turned the clock back and reminded everybody of the question that I was asking in the first place. Why the hell wasn't I on the roster? Why was I at home for the first 6-7 weeks of the season? I don't know, but Joe quickly got in there and showed that he still has something left in the tank. And he led this Browns football team not just back to the playoffs, but he's given them a reason to believe that they could do some damage in the playoffs. Their defense is good enough. They've got the weapons offensively with Njoku coming on late. And we saw what he was able to do against this Texans team the last time, Amari Cooper, where he had 300 yards receiving, or damn near 300, if not over 300. This is going to be a fun game, and Flacco gives them a realistic shot. Remember, Flacco is the winningest road playoff quarterback in NFL history. One more win would break the tie between I believe it's Joe Montana. I think it's Joe Montana. Might be Steve Young. I think it's one of those 49ers quarterbacks, I believe. Either way, he's tied with one of the greats. One more win would separate him and make him the winningest road playoff quarterback in NFL history, a distinction that I don't think anybody's going to beat if he gets there. All it takes is one more win. Hard to win on the road in the playoffs. Nobody's done it better than Joe Flacco. That's a dangerous Browns team. Now you look at it from the Houston Texans side of things. They just wanted to get in. They just happy to be here. Beating Indianapolis ensured them of a playoff berth. They didn't know if it would be a wild card berth or a divisional crown where they'd host a playoff game. Turns out Jacksonville didn't get it done against Tennessee, put them in a position to win the division, host this playoff game, and they're ecstatic. It's a young team. They're excited about being here. This is a game that Houston can definitely win. Now, I think there are certain things that have to be addressed, and the first of which is you're going to have to figure out how to block that Browns front. They don't blitz a ton, and they don't have to a lot of times. Jim Schwartz is really good at creating opportunities for guys to get one-on-one matchups, and they have guys that can win one-on-one matchups. I don't know how healthy the Browns are defensively. They were one of the most banged-up teams in the NFL this season. Yet, here we are talking about them as a 5 seed overcoming all of the obstacles that were placed in their way, and you got to give credit to their head coach, Kevin Stefanski, for that. With that said, The Texans are a young team. A lot of these guys haven't tasted postseason ball before, specifically their rookie quarterback. So, we were all interested to see how he would handle that play-in game, that win-in-your-in game on the road at Indy, and he handled it flawlessly. But this is a different animal. This is actually playoff ball. That was playoff ball too, to a degree, but this is actual playoff ball. And I want to see how he handles it. He being CJ Stroud, the runaway favorite to be the offensive rookie of the year. They're going to have to run the ball to keep the Browns honest. They need to stay out of 3rd and long. This is not one of those games where you want to live in 3rd and long. Look, these two teams have played each other once before. So it won't be all that new, right? It's about who can out execute who, right? Stay out of 3rd and long. Keep that Browns pass rush at bay because you're in manageable situations. If I'm not mistaken, Denzel Ward got banged up a little bit in practice this week, I think. He and Jair Alexander, I think both ended up hurting themselves just a little bit. Here are the keys to the game for me. On the Brown side, offensively, it's no secret the Browns want to run the football. It's who they are. It's part of their DNA. It's what makes them dangerous, because you're not going to find a better play action quarterback throwing it deep than Joe Flacco. He's been doing that for years. He's made a living taking deep shots off play action fake and hitting them. And he's still as good as he was during that Super Bowl run with the Ravens back in 2012. He's still at however old he is now, just as good at taking that deep shot. And he's proven it in the latter portion of this season with the Browns. So if you can take away the run game and you don't have to respect play action fake as much, and there aren't these wide open windows for him to throw to, and you're not sucking up the defense and getting that one-on-one look that he can take the shot to, you got a chance to force Joe into some mistakes. We've seen him make mistakes. That Bears defense got Joe Flacco to make mistakes through 3 picks in that game. He's still the same Joe, right? Willing to risk it all. You just got to be in a position to take advantage of it. And the way to do that is to limit the run game. You're not going to stop the Browns from running the football, but what you can do is limit them. I'm a little nervous because I watched the Indianapolis Colts gut the Texans last week on the ground. And if that happens again in this game, I don't think they can win. I don't think they can win. But if they're able to slow down the Browns' rushing attack, force Joe Flacco to have to beat them, I think it gives you the best chance you're going to have on the defensive side. And then for the Browns defensively, to me, it's all about pressure on CJ Stroud. Stop the run first, set up 3rd and longs, and get to CJ Stroud. I think that's what's going to allow you to get in the position that you want to be in late in this ball game, is by slowing them down on the ground. And I think the biggest thing is limiting explosives. I think you could say that for both teams, honestly. Limit explosives. The Texans are one of those teams. We saw it the very first play of the game against Indy, 75-yard touchdown strike. The Texans have been one of the most dynamic teams in terms of explosives this season. And the Browns, we've seen them have some big explosives, whether it's David Njoku, and we saw him go off against the Jets on Thursday Night Football a couple of weeks ago when the Browns clinched. And we've seen Amari Cooper, who went off on this same Texans team just 3-4 weeks ago. So these two teams know that there are explosive plays out there on the field if they don't do their jobs. And both of these teams are fully capable of taking advantage. If you're the Texans, you want to be able to establish the run, as I just mentioned. And even if it's not super successful, don't put the game all on the shoulders of a rookie quarterback in his first career playoff start. Like, take that pressure off. Motor Singletary has been really solid for you. Continue to run the football. But I think the key in this game is going to have to be the poise of C.J. Stroud, staying in manageable down and distances, specifically third downs. That helps you neutralize Myles Garrett in that pass rush. And then I think you're going to have to work the middle of the field early to then be able to get those shots that you want later in the game to Amari Cooper and the likes. So defensively, you got to stop the run. You did not stop it well last week against Indy. Got to stop it much better. If you don't stop it, I don't see how you can beat the Browns if you can't stop the run. The team with the fewest turnovers in this game and the team that I'll give you 3 stats, and these, it's not rocket science, but the team with the fewest turnovers, the team that does the best in the red zone, and the team that is able to convert on third downs will win this game. Whoever is able to get 2 out of the 3, and you really want to stay away from the turnover one. My money is on the Cleveland Browns in this game. Flacco is a wizard on the road. I think he does it again. CJ Stroud and company come up short. I don't like the way that I saw the Texans against the run last week. I don't think you can get away with that again this week. They've seen this Texans defense. They know they can move the ball against them. Amari Cooper was unstoppable the last time. I think they feel even more confident coming into this game than the last game. I'll take the Browns on the road in an excellent game to kick off Wildcard weekend, 26-24. A late field goal missed by Kaimi Fairbairn gives the Browns the 26-24 victory. He'll miss from 54 yards as time expires, and the Browns get the win. Your nightcapper on Saturday is the 6th-seeded Miami Dolphins at the 3rd-seeded Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs. So just keep in mind with this game, it's exclusive. The first time ever a playoff game has been exclusively on an app. So NBC's making sure you download Peacock. They got your bitch ass. If you didn't already have it and you want to watch this game, gotcha, bitch. Freeze, you mother bitches. They got you. Go ahead and download the app. Stop playing with me. For those of us who already have the app, then it's not a big deal. But this one is only on Peacock. So what's interesting about this game is the weather. This has a chance to be the coldest playoff game in NFL history, and we've seen some doozies from a weather standpoint. This one is going to test the boundaries. They could potentially be playing in sub-temperatures come Saturday night in Kansas City. It's going to be bitterly cold, and for a team like Miami that's used to playing in the fun and the sun of Miami, this could be a big challenge for them. Kansas City, I'm not telling you that they're used to it, but they're more acclimated to the climate and the cold weather than the Dolphins are. And not that it mattered. I never thought the Dolphins were going to win this game. I know it was close to last, but they're so banged up right now. They're such a battered and bruised team. They're not the same defensive team that held the Chiefs to 21 points the last time these two teams met. And really, it was 14 because 7 of the Chiefs' points came right before halftime on a scoop and score where he picked up the ball, tossed it to a teammate, and he took off down the sidelines for a touchdown. It really was only 14 points given up by that Dolphins defense the last time these two teams met when the Chiefs won 21-14. It's a totally different Dolphins defense. They're all kinds of banged up. They're dealing with injuries all over the place. Their defensive line has been ravaged by injuries. Offensively, they're banged up there as well. They're not fully healthy, but they're gonna give it a go. They're gonna give it a run, and they haven't been, to me, right offensively really since Week 13 against the Commanders was the last time we really saw them explode offensively on someone. I think they've really been modest the last 4 weeks or so. They've still won some games, but not the way we're accustomed to seeing the Dolphins operating. And they got their asses whooped by the Baltimore Ravens. I just don't see them going to Arrowhead and winning this game. I'll tell you how it can happen, however. First things first, you can't turn the ball over. Let's just start there. Second of all, you're going to have to limit Mahomes and Kelsey's connection because they don't have anybody else. The next guy that he probably trusts is Justin Watson. Like, make Justin Watson beat you. And if he does, fine, you got me. He's starting to build a real connection with Rashee Rice. Try to limit him if you can. But just take Kelsey away and force the others to beat you. And if they do, hey, great game. Good job. You got me. Right? For the Dolphins, you're going to need some explosives. This is a good Chiefs defense. They're stingy. They bend but don't break. You're going to need 2 or 3 explosives, and one of them for a touchdown. You're going to need Tyreek Hill to get loose once, or Waddle to get loose once, or Devin Achane to get loose once, or Raheem Mostert to get loose once. You're going to need somebody to have a big explosive run or catch and run and have that be a way that you score, because you've struggled in the red zone of late too. So I'd like to see the Dolphins do that if they're to have a chance to win. And they're going to have to run the football effectively. Like, Tua can't be, dropping back on 3rd and 9. Tua can't be dropping back 42 times in this game. They've got to run the football, and they need some chunk plays out of the run. It's going to be cold. The run game has to be a factor. And flipping sides to Kansas City, you got to fluster Tua. First of all, you got to stop the run. Can't give up the explosive. They want to stretch you and want to get to the perimeter. You got to get out there. You got to tackle. You got to wrap up. You can't get into a foot race with this Dolphins team. They'll beat you every time. And if you can stop the run early, it'll set you up to get after the quarterback. Tua, he's going to try to get it out of his hands quickly. But if he doesn't, Tua is a different quarterback when the ball doesn't come out in timing and rhythm. So you be in your best interest to stop the run and then try to get to Tua and fluster him a bit. Because if you can, he'll turn it over. We've seen him do it. He'll turn it over. But you got to get to him first. You got to rattle his cage a bit. And then the other thing is, I think you're going to have to find other guys. I saw Mecole Hardman flash in the final game of the season against the Chargers. You're going to need to implement him more. He's going to have to be a part of this offense. You don't have enough outside of Travis Kelce. You're going to have other guys step up. And a good name to watch is Mecole Hardman. You're going to have to find ways to integrate him and get him touches, along with Rashee Rice. And it'd be nice if Marquez Valdez-Scantling gets involved in the offense somehow, some way. But in the meantime, you're going to have to find the others in this game. When it's all said and done, the defense of the Chiefs is just too good. And Mahomes has been here too many times. I'll take the Chiefs over the Dolphins in this game, 23-13, as the Chiefs survive and advance in frigid temperatures at Arrowhead. You move on to Sunday's action. We got a triple header on Sunday. Starting off with the Pittsburgh Steelers, the 7th seed in the AFC, taking on the 2-seeded Buffalo Bills. Listen to what I'm about to say, because this is not a mistake. I didn't make a mistake here. Between when the snowfall started in Buffalo and kickoff on Sunday at 1, Northern New York, Orchard Park, New York, could have amassed 43 inches of snow. Yeah, I didn't stutter. Over 3 feet, heading towards 4 feet of snow could fall on Buffalo. I've seen pictures of the tarp cover in the field. There's about 2 feet of snow already covering the field with the tarp on it. I'm like, how the hell are you even going to get the tarp off of the field? This is what happens when you're in upstate New York in January. This is why they need a dome in Buffalo. Like, you can't be playing outside in this shit, man. This is why they did it in Minnesota. Like, you can't be playing games outside in places that just get buckets full of snow this time of the year. Impossible. That changes everything. The Steelers have a shot in this game now. They didn't have a shot before. This is Tomlin football. It's going to be gritty, nasty, physical. If they had TJ Watt, I'd give them a puncher's chance in this game. They don't have TJ Watt, and so I don't think they're going to win. There's not a lot of game planning, X's and O's shit. It's going to be a damn blizzard out there. There ain't really much you can do other than don't turn the damn ball over. This will be one of those games where you're not even going to be sure where the damn end zone is. Just keep running until somebody tells you to stop on some little kid shit. That's how much snow is going to be on the ground. And they can try to, keep the yard markers clear. You can't keep that shit clear in weather like this. At the end of the day, this is Buffalo Bill weather. They were made for this. And they're going to win this game. It's going to be ugly. There won't be a ton of points scored, but it'll be enough for Buffalo to advance. And that's all it's about, survive and advance. And they're going to do that. Steelers win, or the Bills win this game 16-6. And not because they made a field goal, but because they missed an extra point. Okay. And the Steelers didn't kick 2 field goals. They missed an extra point. At this rate, you're probably better off just going for 2. Maybe that's what they did. They missed the 2-point conversion. Nobody's trying to kick field goals in these type of conditions. So it's going to be 16-6. 16-6. Green Bay Packers at the Dallas Cowboys. So we just came from the AFC 7-2 matchup. Now we're going to the NFC 7-2 matchup, where we find the Green Bay Packers at the Dallas Cowboys. This has been a fun matchup over the years between these two teams. And this one has a chance to be exactly the same way if the Packers can hang tough. I'll keep this one short and sweet. Cowboys are undefeated at home this year. They stole a victory at the end of the season from the Detroit Lions. That's nor here nor there. All right. The bottom line is they're a different team at home than they have been on the road this season. And they're at home and they score points like nobody's business at home. And I don't know if Green Bay can stop them from scoring points in this ball game. Here's the key. Can Green Bay slow down CeeDee Lamb? Jair Alexander hurt himself in practice this week. He was going to probably be the guy shadowing CeeDee Lamb. Not that he was going to be able to stop him by himself, but he would have given you the best chance to do that. If he's banged up, he can't go, or he can't finish what he starts, they could be in some serious trouble because CeeDee Lamb is separating from everyone right now. He's on a tear. That said, Green Bay's defense has been better the last 2 weeks. It was tragically bad coming down this home stretch. They gave up 30 points to Carolina. Nobody had even come remotely close to giving up that total against the Carolina Panthers this season. They almost lost that ball game. Gave up 30, and everyone was screaming, fire Joe Barry, despite the Packers eking out a 33-30 victory. Since then, they gave up 10 on the road on a Sunday night to Minnesota in a drubbing 33-10. And then they followed that up with a gem of a performance defensively against the Bears, holding them to 9 points and winning that game 17-9. So if you're Green Bay, it's very simple. You're going to need the defense you've seen the last 2 weeks show up and show out. And you're not playing a rookie in Jaron Hall. You're not playing a third-year quarterback in Justin Fields. You're playing Dak Prescott, who's playing at an MVP-like level. Good luck with that. And you're gonna need your offense to block the Cowboys front, which is not the easiest thing to do. Always got to account for number 11, and you got to figure out how to get Jordan Love and these young receivers comfortable early in this game. I think you got to get out of his hands quickly, get him into a rhythm. And once Jordan Love gets into a rhythm and those receivers start to play with confidence, they can move the football. Dallas's defense is good in the front. It's not great in the back end. And I don't know what's the extent of the Stephon Gilmore injury. I probably should have looked it up. It did not look good as he was walking off the field against Washington. But whatever the case may be, even if he's healthy, you can take advantage of their secondary. I've watched teams do it a bunch this season. but you're going to have to give Jordan Love time. If you can do that, Love has shown this season he can be dangerous with the football in his hands. He's gaining confidence. These receivers are gaining confidence. The line of scrimmage will be key because Dallas's run defense has been sketchy this season, especially down the stretch, but Green Bay doesn't run it all that well. And if Green Bay can't protect Jordan Love and you can't run the football, you're in trouble. Vice versa, if Dallas can establish some semblance of run, even if they don't, if they can protect Dak, which is important, they can protect him, he'll carve up that Green Bay secondary. They'll score points at will, and they'll get away. This game will get away from Green Bay. Ultimately, I think Green Bay can keep this thing close. But when it's all said and done, Dallas is going to pull away late. I think this is a 20-14 game heading into the fourth quarter. And then Dallas puts a barrage on them and runs away and hides late, wins this football game 34-20, do the Cowboys in this one. I think the Packers are young. They're an upstart team, but they're not ready yet. If they do the things that I said they are capable of doing, they could win this game, eke out a victory, but we'll see what happens. And then the nightcap on Sunday, Rams at Lions, your 6 seed versus your 3 seed. The Lions fans are juiced and ginned up for this one. I'm excited for them. That crowd is going to be raucous and in full throat. This one means a lot to Jared Goff. You know, he can downplay it all he wants this week. But this one, I know he's got this one circled on the calendar, and he's like, man, and I hope he uses that energy positively and not negatively, because if he presses too much, it could become a negative for him and it could backfire. But if he just goes out there, plays his game, he could carve those boys up. Now, nobody knows the weaknesses of Jared Goff better than Sean McVay and this Rams football team. Aaron Donald and company, they saw this guy for years, every day in practice. Sean McVay coached him, was the one that helped bring him into the league and see him succeed. So he knows what makes Jared Goff a good passer and what makes him tick. And so if anybody can unravel this Lions offense, it's Sean McVay and the Los Angeles Rams. But this has been a really good Lions team this season. But they're also a defense that I think you can move the football against, you can score on. It'll be interesting to see what version of the Rams offense do we get. You know, are they locked in? Is Kyron Williams running the football at will? Are they getting loose with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua? And, you know, are they able to separate and get yards after the catch? And because we know if they run it effectively, now you got to respect play action fake. Now those open windows in that second window come open, and now all of a sudden Matthew Stafford's back there shredding you. Speaking of Matthew Stafford, he's going back home. I mean, this is a weird game because similar to the Green Bay Dallas game where everybody's kind of talking up the Mike McCarthy angle, this one's a little bit different because Stafford's going back to Detroit. I don't think he's been back since he was traded. So this is his first time going back. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a lot of love and support for him. But at the same time, we try to do something you never did in your career here, and that's win a playoff game. So that should be weird. That's going to be a fun dynamic there. But when it's all said and done, I don't know why, but I don't trust the Lions in this game. I don't. And I told you, I don't trust Jared Goff. And you guys have always known I felt that way. I don't trust Jared Goff. If they jump on the Rams early, they'll win the game. But if this thing is close at halftime or the Rams jump on them early, the Rams are going to win this game. They're an experienced bunch. They've been here before. They know what it takes. They've won a Super Bowl with Stafford at quarterback. And I just think they're hitting their stride at the right time of the season. And they know that Goff is an immobile quarterback. And if they can stop the run and get to Goff, you got him, right? And so I just see the Rams pulling this thing out 27-23 over the Detroit Lions and getting this victory. And Stafford goes back to Detroit and denies them the thing that they want so badly that he couldn't provide them with, a playoff victory. Finally, we get to our last game. It's on Monday night. Eagles at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, your 5-4 matchup in the NFC. This one is tough to depict because I don't really know what's going on with the Eagles. As of yesterday, Jalen Hurts hadn't thrown a football since the finger injury. And obviously he's going to have to throw one here shortly, but he hadn't thrown one yet, right? I'm pretty sure that's changed by now. A.J. Brown has been injured, obviously. Then I saw something on socials. I don't know if it's true or not. I didn't vet it, but I thought that there was something that said he deleted, anything that had to do with the Eagles off of his social media, which means he's upset again and being moody. Don't know if he's playing in this game or not. They asked Devontae Smith whether A.J. Brown was playing. He said, I don't know. You got to ask him. And not that that's a bad response. I mean, I don't know. Like, really, I don't know. Go ask him. Like, I don't want to tell you he's playing and he's not playing. Or I don't want to tell you he's not playing and he is playing. Go ask him. But it just seems like this locker room is still disjointed. Like they're not together. They're not the same Eagles team that had all that swag. But sometimes when the world is against you and it feels like the sky is falling, that offers up an opportunity for a rallying cry of us against the world. If we don't believe in ourselves, then who's going to believe in us? And that's an opportunity for Nick Sirianni to tell them, hey, they don't think we can do it. It's the same shit that they did back in 2017. Even though they were the number one seed and they were supposed to, they had Nicholas Foles at quarterback. So nobody thought they were going to win. And they used that as a rallying cry. And somehow the number one seed became an underdog. They can use that same angle in this game because I don't think there are a lot of people that feel like even if they get past Tampa Bay, they can do anything after that. But this is not going to be an easy task for them. They didn't even look like they could pick up a blitz against the Giants in Week 18. Todd Bowles blitzes more than anybody else in football. So it could be really interesting. And these two teams played in Week 3, and it wasn't an easy cakewalk for the Eagles. Hurts turned it over in that game. The Bucs kept it close. It was Baker Mayfield's mistakes that ultimately allowed this game to get out of hand. And DeAndre Swift was able to run the football at will in that game. They don't even run the ball anymore in Philadelphia. Maybe with Hurts' injury, they don't have a choice but to run it, and that may actually benefit them. Who knows? At the end of the day, Baker Mayfield is all kinds of banged up. And if he were healthy, I think I'd take the Bucs in this game. He barely made it through the Panthers game in Week 18. He's got ribs, he's got an ankle, he's got this, he's got that. And that offense is struggling right now. The Eagles' defense stinks, but if the Bucs can't take advantage of it, what difference does it make? Somehow the Eagles win this game. I really think they can lose this game. Oh my God, I think they can lose this game. But somehow they're going to pull this game out because I just don't think the Bucs are good enough. I'll take the Eagles in this game 23-10. I'd love to see them score more points. I just don't think they will. What was the score last time? 25-10? So this is right on par with what they did the last time. I think they'll hold Philadelphia down offensively with their defense, but they just won't do enough offensively. Maybe they will. This Eagles defense is not the same one they saw earlier this season. It is a totally different defense. But we'll see. I hope I'm wrong. But those are my predictions. And so we'll get this one super chat and then we'll get out of here. Video channel. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, "Sup, Lou? I'm moving away from OBS for my podcast. Do you use StreamYard? If not, what do you use and how do you like it?" I do use StreamYard and I use OBS. I use both for all of my streams. So the only thing I don't like on StreamYard is that I couldn't use my music, my background music for my podcast, but they changed that so I can. I just have to input everything in here, and I just never have done it. But that was the only issue I had with it because you can't hear the audio from OBS on StreamYard. You have to play it in StreamYard. But outside of that, I've really had no issues, really. So good luck. I don't know what software you're thinking about using. If you're going to StreamYard, it works just fine. You'll have no issues. So let me know how it goes. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. I look forward to chopping it up with you guys tomorrow at the conclusion of both games. I think I'll just do one stream after both games and break them both down. Now, if that first one is a dandy, like I think it's going to be, coming down to the wire and a missed field goal, I'll probably go live right after it. If there's enough of a gap between the 4:30 and the 8:15 kick, then I will. If it's not, then I'll just wait till after the Chiefs and Dolphins to go live after that one. So in any event, you guys enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll see you tomorrow after the first or second game. Doesn't matter. After the first game or after they're both done. Either way, you'll see my face, and we'll be talking about Saturday's action in Wildcard weekend. Until then, you guys, Jordan, Junior Nando, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, what's Jordan Love's upside? Jordan Love could be Aaron Rodgers. I think he's got that much talent. I really, truly do. I said that when he came into the league. He plays like Aaron Rodgers, which is why I think they drafted him. He could be Aaron Rodgers. He's just got to settle in. He's got his mannerisms. He throws off platform. He's got a strong arm. He can make every throw. He's very mobile. The only difference is Aaron would throw these ridiculously tight spirals accurately on the move. Jordan Love sometimes will throw wobbly ducks. They'll get there, but they won't be as tight of a spiral. Like, there's only one Aaron Rodgers, but he's got Aaron Rodgers-like qualities. I could see him being a problem like Aaron Rodgers if he can just get some of the, he's got some mechanical flaws like that he really needs to tone down, but he can get away with a lot of stuff because he's Jordan Love. Like, he's got that kind of talent, but he's gonna have to tighten up some stuff, make smarter decisions. But I like Jordan Love. I think his upside is Aaron Rodgers. That's at his peak, his best. If he maximizes every ounce of talent he has, he could be Aaron Rodgers. Junior Nando, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, you're damn right. Yeah, that's why you drafted him. And you know how I feel. I told you already. I feel really good about Jordan Love. But we'll see. He's got a chance to put himself on the map. Everybody's going to be watching. If they go to Dallas and wins, it'll change his life forever, and it'll change his career. And now he's a different quarterback, and they're putting him in a different conversation. That's what a win on the road at Dallas on Sunday afternoon can do for his career. Let's see what he does. It's a big spot for him. In any event, y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. See you guys tomorrow. God bless and good night.